Hi everybody, my name is Brenda and I work in the Communications and Customer Services section in SUSI. This video presentation is to give you an overview of the SUSI eligibility criteria and the grant application process. So who are SUSI and what do we do? We're Ireland's single awarding authority for student funding for both further and higher education. And there are two different types of funding available, a student contribution or fee grant and a maintenance grant. We administer this funding in line with legislation including the annual student grant scheme. So why even apply? If you apply to SUSI and are deemed eligible for a grant, you may receive assistance towards the student contribution charge of €3,000, which we will pay directly to the college on your behalf. And you may also be eligible for a maintenance grant, which is assistance towards your day-to-day living expenses and is paid directly to the student's nominated bank account. The types of courses that SUSI fund range from further education level 5 courses all the way up to level 10 postgraduate courses, and there are different types of funding available at each level. For further education or PLC courses, the funding available is a maintenance grant only. For higher education undergrad courses, the funding available is both a maintenance grant and a fee or student contribution grant. For students studying at undergrad level outside the state but within the EU or the UK, a maintenance grant only is available. And we also provide funding for postgrad courses within Ireland only, and there are two different types of postgrad awards. The ordinary rate, which is a contribution of €3,500 towards postgraduate fees, and special rate, which is a fee grant up to a maximum of €6,270 and a maintenance grant. And I will expand further on special rate later on in the presentation. So just to recap on the different types of funding available at each level. For PLC courses at levels 5 and 6 undertaken at approved PLC centres within the state, we don't pay the fee element of these courses, but maintenance grants are available. For undergrad courses at levels 6, 7 or 8 undertaken at approved institutions within the state, both a fee grant and a maintenance grant is available. For undergrad courses at levels 6, 7 or 8 undertaken at approved institutions in another EU member state or the UK, a fee grant is not available, but a maintenance grant is. We also provide funding for postgraduate courses at levels 8, 9 or 10 undertaken at approved institutions in the state and at 4 approved institutions in Northern Ireland, which are the University of Ulster, Queen's University, St Mary's College of Education and Stranmillis College. And for these courses, a fee grant and a maintenance grant is available. But as I said previously, the maintenance grant is only available for those who qualify for the special rate of grant. Further details on the eligible courses in Northern Ireland is available on the SUSI website www.susi.ie. In order to be eligible for any funding from SUSI, every applicant must meet all of our 5 key eligibility criteria, which are as follows: nationality, residency, progression, attending an approved course in an approved college, and the reckonable income for 2020 must be under the maximum threshold. And I'll now explain a bit more on each of the criteria. So the first one we look at is nationality. In order to be eligible, the applicant must be an Irish, EU, EEA, UK or Swiss national, or have specific permission to remain in the state as granted by the Department of Justice and Equality. Further details on the eligible permissions to remain can be found in the nationality section of our website. So the next one we're going to look at is residency, and this will determine what type of funding an applicant is eligible for. Every applicant must have been ordinarily resident in Ireland, the EU, the EEA, the UK or Switzerland for 3 of the last 5 years to be eligible for funding. If resident in the state for 3 of the last 5 years, they will be known as a student and they may be eligible for both a fee grant and a maintenance grant. But if they are resident outside of the state and within the EU, EEA, UK or Switzerland for 3 of the last 5 years, they will be known as a tuition student and they will be only eligible for a fee grant. They wouldn't be eligible for the maintenance element of the grant. So the next one is progression. Applicants must be progressing in their education, and by that we mean increasing their National Framework of Qualifications or NFQ level to be eligible for funding. We can only fund you for a course at a higher level than one you already have a qualification at, and that's irrespective of where and when you received that qualification or whether you had previous grant funding. Attending an approved course in an approved college. Applicants must be attending an approved full-time course in an approved institution to be eligible for funding. We can't fund part-time courses or courses provided in private colleges. And more information on approved courses and colleges is available on our website. Reckonable income for 2020. To be eligible for funding, an applicant's reckonable income must fall under specific thresholds. This income will be a factor in determining what type of funding an applicant may receive, and applications are assessed with regard to gross household income for the previous year. So for the 21-22 academic year, the reference period will be from the 1st of January to the 31st December 2020. Where the household income for 2020 is for a family with less than 4 children, under €54,240, for a family with 4 to 7 children, under €59,595, and for a family with 8 or more children, under €64,700, you may be eligible for grant funding from SUSI. Applicant class. When applying for SUSI funding, it's important that an applicant chooses the correct class to be assessed as. There are two different categories of class: dependent, including mature dependent, and independent. And why is this relevant or important? Because it determines whose income is taken into consideration. A dependent student is somebody who is under 23 on the 1st of January of the year of their first entry into further higher education, and they'll be assessed with reference to their own income and that of their parents or legal guardians. A mature dependent student is somebody who is 23 or over on the 1st of January of the year of their first entry or re-entry into further higher education, but was living with their parents or guardians in the October prior to this. They will also be assessed with reference to their own income and that of their parents or legal guardians. To be assessed as an independent student, an applicant must be 23 or over on the 1st of January of the year of first entry or re-entry into further higher education and living independently from their parents or legal guardians from the October prior to this. An important note to remember is that an applicant's class is defined at their first point of entry into further higher education and remains for the duration of their studies, and they can only be reclassified when moving from further to higher education or after a full 3-year break in studies. When an applicant is awarded a maintenance grant, the actual level of grant they receive depends on which threshold they fall under and the distance from their home to the campus of the college that they are attending. If the distance is calculated to be under 45 kilometres, they are awarded the adjacent rate of grant, and if it's 45 kilometres or over, they will be awarded the non-adjacent rate. If you want to see how we have calculated the distance from your home to your college, you can log into your SUSI account and click on the My Distance button. I mentioned the special rate of grant earlier on in the presentation, and now I'm just going to go into a little bit more detail about what exactly that is and who qualifies for it. What it is a top-up on the ordinary rate of maintenance grant, but to be eligible for special rate, you must meet the following criteria. The total household income for 2020 must be under €24,500 and include, on the 31st December 2020, income from one of the eligible long-term Department of Social Protection payments. There is a list of all the eligible special rate payments on the SUSI website. The rates of maintenance grants payable under special rate are as follows. If the distance calculated is under 45 kilometres, the total amount payable is €2,375. This is paid in 9 monthly instalments of €263.89 a month. As the distance is calculated to be 45 kilometres or over, the total payable is €5,915, which works out as €657.22 per month. And these are paid over the course of the academic year. So here's a little checklist of things that you should do. Step 1. Check out the eligibility reckoner on the SUSI website. It's an online tool that will give you an indication as to whether you're eligible for funding or not. Step 2. Register your account with SUSI. You'll get a username, a password and a PIN. Make sure you keep these safe as you'll need them to access your account. Step 3. Complete your application. And step 4. Submit your application online. Once you submit your application, you should receive a confirmation email from SUSI within 24 hours. If you don't, make sure to contact our support desk and they should be able to help you. When you're making an application with SUSI, you're going to need the following details. The PPSN for the applicant, PPSN for parties to the application, so for a dependent student that would be their parents or legal guardians, and for an independent student that would be their spouse or cohabitant, your CAO or your UCAS registration number, an estimate of the 2020 income, your chosen course details. You don't have to have accepted a place on a course to make an application to SUSI, and you can change your course details at any time by logging into your SUSI account and clicking on the My Course Details button. And then your AIR code, and this enables us to accurately calculate the distance from your home to your college. Once you have all those, you can click on Start Application and start completing the application then. So you've made your application, you've submitted it online, and now you're probably wondering to yourself, well, what happens next? So first things first, your application goes for a provisional assessment where it's going to be reviewed by one of the assessment team. Once that's completed, your application will either be awarded and you'll be sent a letter advising of the rate you've been awarded and the course we've awarded you to, or you may be refused, and you'll also be sent a letter advising you of the reason for that refusal. You may also be issued a checklist letter requesting supporting documents. If you do receive a checklist letter, be sure to return the requested documents within the time frame stipulated on the checklist letter. If there's going to be any delay in submitting the documents, just let us know by calling or sending an email to the support desk. So you've sent in your documents and now you're wondering, well, what happens next? Your application will then go for a review assessment, and again it will be reviewed by one of the assessment team, and you'll either be awarded and advised of the rate awarded and the course we've awarded you to, or refused and advised of the reasons why. You may also be issued an additional checklist letter requesting more supporting documents, and again, if this happens to you, make sure you send them in within the time frame stipulated on the letter and engage with us if there's going to be any delays. So here's some important tips for you. You can check your potential eligibility on the eligibility record on the SUSI website. Tick the optional Share Details with SUSI button when you're completing your CAO form. Apply early. We opened for the 21-22 academic year on the 22nd of April 21, and we have a priority closing date of the 8th of July. Any application received prior to this date will be assessed first. Include details of relevant person. If you have a sibling or a parent who is also attending a course in the 21-22 academic year, this may improve the rate of grants that you're eligible for. You can track your application's progress at any time via the tracker on your SUSI account. Return requested documents complete and on time. And if anybody in the household has income from self-assessment, if possible, file your tax returns early in 21, as we won't be able to finalise that application until we can see that you have done that. So just to finish up, here's how you can keep in touch with us here in SUSI. Our website susi.ie has a huge amount of information there for you. There's some very informative videos, and there's also a very good application form guide which you may find useful when you're filling in your application. You can contact us directly through email at support@susi.ie, through social media via Facebook and Twitter, or you can call the help desk at 076 1087 874. I hope you found this video informative and useful, and I wish you the best in your studies for the academic year. Thanks for listening.